Okay, we are live, and I will walk you through some of the stuff which which will talk about the different kind of service industry which should be on the www. Oh my god. Okay. So first of all, we will identify the pain points. So take pain point as okay. So let's fix some of the aspects of the playbook in terms of how digital economy has to work. I'll wait for a couple of more seconds and then I'll start off and let's see how it goes. And we are going to observe this today is anywhere in the world. Uh, we are starting this process in different time zones covering all the latitudes and longitudes. 19th day of July 2025 till 21st of July 2025. This is the only protocol which should be followed by the communication network, who are the real good, or I would rather say part of white economy, because the dark web is also looking at this data set. So we have to negate that first, and we have to take uh, if we have to take a scenario, it would be i'm taking I'm taking dark web, the whole landscape of dark web as single word, and this is in capital. So uh, dark web itself, the word is in capital, and I mean you have to do it like this. So this is basically from the patenting point of view, because blah blah blah, I'm not getting into my historical data set right now, but just focusing on the main aspects and see what can be done. So we are taking the pain point of the internet, which is supposed to be triple w, and triple w itself, I mean, where should I start with? Okay, capital A is equal to triple w, which is again capital, and after that we have a point, take it as a point, take it as a dot, take it as a period, and take three these point dot period as map. Now here the map can be looked into different data sets. I mean, in the food processing industry, map means something else. That is what is map? Modified atmospheric blah blah blah. Because that's how I don't know how many people had the opportunity to drink Taj tea in those days when map was first introduced in India. Because see, everything when we talk about the way the world is being operated for the longest time, it is based on intellectual property rights. I mean, even for the timeline of dosa, idli, and everything, it doesn't belong to South India. If you go back to the historical data set, it belongs to a particular tribe, or it belongs to a certain way of living life, whereby I need to give this data set because I think this is very important from the point of view of coding. In the framework, English, it's not British English, US English, this English, a proper diction is very important for the folks to even have the communication or discuss this with any of the folks, because maybe we are trying to put all the languages onto the world wide web, but the common thread, now please don't cut the thread, this common silver lining, I don't know what is the right word right now, because folks are trying to mitigate that because they think with the dark web they can do whatever they want to. The answer is big no. So from the point of view of coding, I'm not even getting into AI for good, because artificial intelligence is equal to art of understanding real data set. That means the good thing about the current trend is, whether it's a bull run, whether it's whatever you guys are talking about, the answer is big no, because the input data itself is totally flawed. When internet came to India, for whatever reasons, the early people who were the data entry jobs, I mean, all the data sets have been given wrong. And why it is given wrong should be the question asked to these people who have been running these brands. And say, for example, Mark and Spencer. Like, I did this exercise. So all these primary exercises, which is primary market research, I did it myself so that I know exactly what is happening. Now, Mark and Spencer, I went, I purchased something, I give my data set, and the next week, within next 7 days, I went again purchased something just to see the data set, and it was flawed. So flawed input data will always give flawed answers. Whether we are trying to solve any of these issues whereby we are saying, even for this Airtel matter, like Airtel has now collaborated with Perplexity, which is a good thing. No question asked. But the point is, now these users, how they can log in to the web domain and what they are doing, that has to be watched. And that has to be watched by EPO and USPTO, because both EPO, which is European Patent Office, and USPTO, that is US Patent Office, they have a little bit more cognizance about anything and everything as the operation of this world is continuing and should be continued. Because internet protocols and everything, it has been developed over a lot of frameworks. So even we cannot allow one particular country to just operate that. And I'm sure Airtel at the back end is helping the country to grow, which is India per se. Because even if you go to the historical data set, there was a time when Sri Lanka the land of Sri Lanka was part of this India land. And it is just because of the drift and the way the calamities have happened, there has been a shift in discussion. Long story short, I have to take this call. Okay, so the point is, I have to get back to the stuff of what we were doing. So just use these data sets and understand that Perplexity will give us data, but that has to be washed by the best of the minds in India. So India also has, even in the intellectual property world, we have a lot of players. There are good players, bad players, neutral players. What we need to do is, where I talked about one aspect in the framework, that it is the situation of the node in the online world that is making him or her maybe bisexual, neutral. I'm not getting into that nomenclature, because that again is a parameter right now. Particularly, I'm seeing that in Delhi, that we have now neutral toilets in the malls. So the point of contention here is, we need to understand the framework first. And for the framework to understand, it has to be monitored as to how the users are using the Perplexity per se. What are the questions? What are the prompts they are using? Even if they don't share it, it has to be washed out. And I think here, Reliance should learn the basics of the underlying principle, rather than framing principles which are based on the infringement of intellectual property rights. Because it is very clear after Operation Sindoor that the people had filed trademarks on Operation Sindoor. So that itself is a appalling situation. And as far as the third player goes, Idea per se, that is basically nothing but Vodafone at the back end. I had the opportunity to meet each one of them, the stakeholders globally over the years, and it is very clear, if the government doesn't understand the sustainability issue, uh, I mean, they will leave the country in terms of they will take all the resources. And we are already seeing what Foxconn has done, and this will continue because as a country we need to respect each one of us. Each person is important, each country is important, and on the internet, whatever this canvas is all about, this doesn't belong to one country. Even data itself, input data is wrong. What are you talking about? Bull run, this rush, that rush, nothing is going to work. This is how the protocols have been written at the first place, because I have been in the fundamental framework of the branding process since 2005 in many aspects, maybe before that. And another thing, just to conclude everything, is look into the data set of this Deutsche Bank based out in Connaught Place, and particularly whenever they started the banking sector. I am not getting the data set because my AI just told me some of the data set, but I don't want to go into it. If look into the aspect of from 1999, what has happened with the Deutsche Bank based out at Connaught Place, so that you have little bit more strong data set in terms of the transaction made, how the money has been inflowing and outflowing. Because the only data set which is a reality in the country is the transactions made online and offline, whether by check, whether by UPIs, whether by anything else, because that data set is being fed at the back end to prepare the framework. But people like us, we do transaction not to do transaction where we are trying to just build the blockchain, because there are multiple zillion transaction which I'm doing to my own self, and these are like 1 rupee. It's not that it holds any value. This is to prepare my Impula network, which is not applicable and will never be shown, because that is a framework of Web 3.0, and that has been developed uh, with lot of efforts. My whole intellect, not whole, a bit of the intellect over the years, or whatever I have learned, I have put that into it. And obviously, first and foremost, the scenario is how to deal with the pain. So this pain scenario is what I have gone through all my life. That is the basic core of this Impula network. In terms of when I discussed this in China, they said, okay, pretty, how can we, work together and resolve it? I said, let's take all the pain points of the main people of the internet who were fundamental to understand internet per se. And that framework is not that only the pain I have gone through or I go through each day, because I'm into intellectual property rights. So I have this best of the best people trying to communicate various ways. I'll give you one example just to end this conversation right now. A client of mine, I mean, just imagine these Indian people in the best of the world, they will never give you extra money. They made a transaction, and that transaction was more than INR 1 lakh rupees. And they give me a call at their convenience that हमने extra पैसे दे दिए आपके account में. And I was like, how did that happen? Now, I was supposed to return that money, and it has to go, in the online world just to make their blockchain block. So this is appalling. But at the same time, I knew what I was doing. I knew what they are doing. I know all the players what they have been doing since 2005. Because not 2005, because the digital economy, in terms of, I opened a bank account. It used to be UTI. UTI, yeah, UTI. That is Axis Bank now. 500 rupees account, and then it became the priority account, maybe one of the first priority accounts in India, bearing the 5 digit number. Last 5 digit number is 14100. I have promised everyone that I will be giving that data set, but I don't think so. The time is right. When the time is right, it will become a public ledger. So it's very simple. All your banking accounts, in terms of even 1 rupee transaction, 0.5 rupee transaction, all those transactions are part of this framework what India is developing at the back end. But that is not resolving the issue, because most of the framework or the transactions are just done to prepare some kind of formulation for their own enterprise in terms of whatever problem they're trying to solve. My problem statement always has been the SDG goals, and that is why I have been selected by Government of India and representing India in various forums. Maybe sometimes people think that I'm against the country. No, it is not against the country, because internet doesn't belong to one. And the good thing about Modi ji is he has embraced technology. Until unless you don't embrace technology, technology is never going to help you, and technology will backfire. Because if you see this as a matrix, I think people have taken another pill altogether. Neither the red pill has been taken, neither the blue pill has been taken. And this Undertaker and this Kamala and the WWF people, I mean, the fun element of internet has to be brought back. That is the only way, people will understand what IQ and EQ is, because money given to the wrong hands will always dissipate in a manner where things will go haywire in terms of the branding also. So thank you for watching out the video. Put your questions in the comment box. The AIs and everybody will look into it and respond back. Have a great weekend.